Welcome to Oakle's channel. Thanks for watching today. Let's talk about a new game that's going to be coming out called Gargoyles Remastered. Now, this is obviously a remaster of the Sega Genesis game from the 90s, which is based on the amazing cartoon from the 90s called Gargoyles. Now, I loved Gargoyles growing up. I thought it was like one of the greatest cartoons. It had great lore behind it, great action, great animation. I mean, it truly was one of my favorite cartoons growing up. And Gargoyles is seeing a little bit of a resurgence finally after all of these years, possibly because it's on Disney Plus and it's doing pretty good on there. I don't know. But regardless, on the D23 conference, which is Disney doing like all their upcoming stuff, you know, whether it be like comics or board games or video games. And it was here they announced that the Gargoyles Remastered is coming out. Not a release date, and it's honestly sort of insulting how little amount of time they spent on the announcement of this particular game, because they basically said it's coming out, it's going to have the Viking scream from the original game, and they showed some original game footage, and that was like all. They really did almost nothing for the announcement of this game. They really could have done a little bit more on this, or showed some original gameplay footage, or talked about Gargoyles history. They could have done a lot more, but regardless, we are seeing a video game coming out of the Gargoyles Sega Genesis game, which is pretty cool. Now, we do know who's the developer behind this is going to be. It's going to be Empty Clip Studios, which of course, they've done some remasters in the past, not Disney remasters, and nothing of really huge note either. They did a remaster of like NHL 94, which was well received for the most part. They did another one for like a airplane game, another one for a Japanese only game as far as like a side scroll, I believe. And they're usually pretty quick on their remasters, like 3-month turnaround from what I could see, or less from the announcements. And they have the basic features like rewind, you know, save state, stuff like that. But it's not like a full, like, you know, remastering of the entire game. No updated graphics, maybe some smoothed out pixels, such as that. For the most part, I say we're going to get the Gargoyles game in its almost completely original form. Now, are we going to have as many features as we have with like the Aladdin collection, with the Lion King and the Jungle Book, or even the Disney Afternoon? I doubt it, because those were both done with Digital Eclipse behind them, and Digital Eclipse does a fantastic job. I mean, they just did the Cowabunga collection here recently, and there were so many cool special features on there, like the strategy guides, and I really hate to see Digital Eclipse not involved in this one, but this one is just a one-titled collection, so it's not even really a collection, it's just simply one game being re-released. So I can sort of see why they may have went with a smaller studio for this one. But it does raise the question, like, what is Disney's plan with Gargoyles? Why out of nowhere are they bringing back the video game for Gargoyles? I really do think it has something to do with the streaming of Disney Plus. I've seen a few articles how they say like it's one of the higher stream programs, and it's always on these lists of like programs to stream on Disney Plus. And so I think there is a growing fan base for Gargoyles again. And you also have to take into account they actually announced a comic book earlier this year that's going to continue on the series, pick up after season 2, and actually continue on the series from there in a comic book form. We're actually getting NECA action figures for the Gargoyles, which are some of the, like, the best action figures reissues that you can possibly get, or completely redoing of the action figures. I mean, they're amazing what they've done with like the Turtles collections. So something's going on with Gargoyles. I mean, it's just weird to see it back on streaming, comic books coming out, action figures coming out, now a remastered video game. What's Disney got up their sleeve for the Gargoyles franchise? I know last year they had a leak of a script from a 90s movie. It's supposed to be like a gritty version of Gargoyles. They got canceled because they viewed it as like too dark or whatnot. Maybe they're going to possibly revive that script since they're doing so many live action retellings of their stories. That's possible, but something's going on with Gargoyles. I mean, there's too much smoke here for there not to be a fire for Gargoyles. I mean, it's just too much. But regardless, we are getting the remastered Gargoyles from Sega Genesis. Probably, if I was going to guess, based upon the timeline for Empty Clip Studios, I'd say it's probably before the end of the year, but it might be next year when Disney's trying to do like a 100-year anniversary or something like that. So I would say either end of this year, early next year, but it's coming out soon, because Empty Clip Studios does not sit on the game for very long once they've announced it. Their entire track record shows that. They're very quick once they announce games. But what do you all think? Are you excited to see Gargoyles finally coming back? Are you going to pick up the Sega Genesis Gargoyles Remaster here? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, go out there, find a great game to play. Just simply have a great rest of the day.